And something we have to think about, we have mentioned this earlier in the cast, but MVP Black always staying a step ahead of most teams. They know exactly what their opposition wants to do and react to it very well in most cases. And again, as we said, rotating Auriel Lunara into the top lane early on is something that top teams generally do. So Reset had a very good read onto that to decide to go 2v2 in the top lane as Genji, so a very good and well thought out gank, I would say.
Yep, and they will just trade temples with this. Not too bad for Miracle also, because they got what they wanted, and the Haka has been pushing that, picking up that global. I think it was very effective to have it against Sake's Falstad just like that. Crazy moving, of course, overextending a little bit, having off guard against Genji coming in, but this time with the sustain, they have it. But Miracle relies everything. They put everything on Crazy Moving's Lunara. If Lunara dies, basically the team fight is over for them.
Definitely. And overall, perfectly equal tempo trade, so both teams will be okay with what happened here. MVP Black going for both mercenary camps at once. Pretty decent rotation, I would say, making the best use out of those Malthael and Rehgar picks. Rehgar finishes soloing the siege camp. Malthael does the same. And this slight lead in these rotations, how will MVP Black abuse this? A lot of teams in HGC Korea are not accustomed or just simply don't know how to abuse these tempo advantages that may look small but can be big. But MVP Black have always been very good at doing that, so
the snowballing is from MVP Black can be very fast tempo. And sometimes, oftentimes a lot of the opponents have problem against it because they come at you so fast, so quickly. The tempo is real.
Reset,
and even this,
Reset late.
Slightly late, but he was trying to check, and as a Genji, you can always escape pretty easily.
So it looks like he flipped over the wall and dashed out, not taking much damage at all. And so MVP Black, using the slight advantage that they had, managed to take a fort earlier.
But look at this is a constant pattern they have been doing. They oftentimes use Rich's strength to win the top solo lane and really push in hard into the fort and hold on to the thought. They're looking for a kill onto Sniper. Maybe too deep if he dives in. There's a hook, but gets healed. But from that moment, they really push the advantage. Always go for the first fort. Even if the fort is remaining healthy, they look for the gank onto the top solo laner.
Still, despite the structural disadvantage that MVP Miracle is put in right now, not too much of an experience lead for MVP Black. They will be okay. The Haka positioned in the top lane as well. So overall, they will probably be looking for a team fight. Diaka will use Rush Stalker soon. He does.
There's a cleanse. There's a deflect damage coming in. Reset has to back away. And Rich, without the sustain, I think he will fall. And he does.
Rich went too deep there, it seems, and Falstad didn't even join the team fight. So some miscommunication or lax thinking going on the side of MVP Black, it seems. And MVP Miracle will not have any problems taking the entirety of the shots from this bottom temple.
Of course, it was as if like he was level 10. He had Tormented Souls available for him, but not yet. He was still level 9. His positioning was a little bit aggressive. There's a good hook onto Uther, the perfect target. Anubarak actually comes in for the save, and it seems like, is it going to be enough damage? There's a heal coming in. Power up, double support. They got all the shots from the temple. But meanwhile, to relieve the pressure, Black has been pushing the top and got 10 before.
So overall, Black, very nice response to losing the bottom temple, using Falstad to go in between the two lanes.
There's a Dragon Blade.
Wasn't
looking for the kill. Does get the kill. Does get the reset. Maybe they're looking for more. There's a gust from the side. Falstad joins, but reset is very low. It has to be Ancestral too.
Ancestral connected this time. The Bile perhaps used a bit too prematurely. Gust as well. But so far, MVP Black has to be happy with what has happened in that tussle.
Every single fight, we don't really because the action is in the center, but Falstad always comes from the side. You can't really catch him, but he guts from the side. And meanwhile, all the action is happening. It's super hard to actually position yourself against the Falstad like that. And every time, Sake has been doing that in this series, and not just in this series, this entire phase. And that's why the Falstad's win rate in Korea is just super high, close to 70% actually now.
And again, the period of inactivity, I don't think both teams will be looking to do much. Still 40 seconds left on that Ancestral for Regar, so MVP Black will not be the aggressors, and MVP Miracle don't really have a good tool of engage wide out in the open while MVP Black is this far back.
Isolation and Divine Storm from Miracle. They're really pressuring hard as Genji is diving in all the time. They want to land on the perfect CC and delete Genji off the map instantly with that. They can only pick on one though. There's Genji from Reset and Rich with Martial coming in.
Both teams gathering around the bottom temple, it seems.
Okay, they still have the camp pushing the top, so Dehaka has to clear that before going in, even trying to contest the middle temple there.
Overall, MVP Black played the more passive, measured style again, being happy to just trade temples.
And Miracle spots and smells that Black only seeing Falstad on the temple, and seems like they may actually go for the boss, so they check for now, and Black has really passive until they have the advantage, and they have talent level up now, and they go in.
Do they want to abuse this very small window though? They do not. But they managed to use it to deny MVP Miracle the last shots of the bottom temple.
That's right, the last 5 shots does a lot of damage, you know.
So overall, MVP Miracle still relatively okay in terms of experience. Slightly, oh, but they get a hook onto Lunara.
Not enough follow-up damage as Rich was missing, and also Falstad. Not much actually used there, so. But if Crazy Moving gets hooked just like that when we go into late game, like 14 minutes, 17 minutes game, and she dies, then basically the fight's over for Miracle, and they have to back off. And Black will take everything away from you. Once again, a little bit too late.
Literally a second late, it seems.
And isolation and drags perfectly, and Rich dives in onto this small choke point. He will sustain himself. There's a Divine Storm. The value is real, and Lunara leaps in. Crazy Moving. Can he survive? He does not. He dies. Rich gets Ancestral. Black will take this for sure.
And it's going to end with only 2 dead on the side of MVP Miracle, but the precision of that Ancestral healing, very nice, encouraging from Gyocha. And overall, MVP Black will be able to use this lead to extend their experience advantage into a level and a half.
Crazy Moving leaping in and out. It seemed it was needed to actually take the kill. That was the risk. It was a high risk, actually.
That was a really good isolation onto Genji, so
that too.
I believe that MVP Miracle would be advantageous in that fight, but the next sequence of events, very well played by MVP Black, really, and Reset attempting to get taking at half of Dami's health. Only forces to use his essence though, which still stings, but not a solo kill.
Yeah, not a solo kill as next time, and he does not have adaptation. You remember, he's trying to revenge as he was basically dragged and isolated because of Dehaka, the last team fight. They're actually starting the boss here.
MVP Miracle do what is necessary, but MVP Black will definitely suspect this.
They are coming down slowly. Oh, that blind hook attempt did not connect.
Not too much MVP Miracle can do, except for posturing around that boss at this moment.
They are taking this control of the temple this entire time. Dehaka cannot go too far away because notice the positioning of rotation of Genji coming up all the time. He's trying to punish every.
And Falstad almost done with capturing the top temple. Meanwhile, siege minions pushing down the bottom lane. So MVP Black will be forced to deal with that pretty soon. But Falstad will most likely go home.
Yeah, and just clear the camp. And they were pressured in bottom lane, which can be cleared very easily with a Falstad and can also join into teamfight anytime. But they got the entire temple. I think that's a lot better trade if you ask me. And Miracle could not really do anything because all the camps were taken. Tried to bustle to pressure Black a little bit. Could not really made it work because of the hook pressure, the reset coming in. There's Rich diving in with the Tormented Soul. There's Cocoon coming in, but they just have to back off for now. But Reset is looking for kills, and Jaeyoung gets hooked. There's the Gust for isolation. That's first kill. They're looking for more onto this charge.
That was such a nice use of Mighty Gust by Sake. And isolation landed onto Genji, but it won't matter much. The Haka will fall slowly but surely, it seems. Sniper, third death.
Whoa, another hook, and Lunara blows up in the air.
So this is going to be 4 members down for MVP Miracle. Surely a boss for MVP Black. So overall, I believe MVP Miracle were a bit too hasty in jostling around that bottom edge of the keep there, because of course you're relatively equal in experience. You were on the same talent tier, but you were down in structural advantages. There was nothing else in the map for you to do, and overall MVP Black staying ahead.
And look at this
execution.
They're using this time perfectly again, just leaving Rich to take care of the boss, to have the maximum push onto this keep. If they defend the keep, they will lose both temples. If they go get the temple, they will lose the keep. So
standard thing to do would be to just take both temples and back out. You don't need to push the keep directly with the boss. Abuse the characteristics of this map. So that is exactly what MVP Black is doing.
Wow, taking time. Actually, they're slowing this down intentionally because they are forcing the fight. Falstad will be having more time to actually push it because Rehgar is doing the camp, solo camp already, even pushing the bot lane a little bit further. They will get a little bit more EXP soak, and when that time comes, they will be hitting that 20.
So pressure going down onto virtually all 3 lanes right now. Lunara goes in deep.
Some damage onto Rich, but he pops Tormented Soul. There's a rip, sustain, gets stunned, but Ancestral comes in and he will be safe. Sniper goes down. That's another reset onto Reset, and he will be. And Saki joins the team fight. Miracle is just lost right now. The Aka is looking for some tempo shots, but is that going to matter? I think the game is over, and MVP Black will go for core.
Saki didn't really even need to use the Gust there. Very clean play throughout this game from MVP Black, and MVP Miracle did a very good job of staying in this game.
Look at the Ami!
His spirit's not broken. Good to see that. But
the BM Gust is real, but that's it. Game over, and that last team fight was messy, but Rich diving in, and this time Ancestrals were pretty good onto Rich as the focus was a little bit off because of the positioning, and I think it's because Sake flying in anytime and using that Gust. Miracle at game number 4. It seemed like they were falling apart as the time went on.
So overall, when these kinds of top teams clash, it's really important to take advantage of the opposition team's weakest link usually. And MVP Miracle were of the impression that that was Kyocha's hero pool, and in Game 3, that looked to be the case. The Ancestrals were off, many mistakes were made, and MVP Miracle were able to eke out a comeback victory thanks to that. But in Game 4, as we mentioned, they went with the same strategy, the support choke. The draft was excellent overall. However, Kyocha managed to improve over the course of 5 minutes between the 3rd game and the 4th. His Ancestrals were on point. His cleanse in the last team fight was perfect. And overall, if Coach is performing well, it seems to be MVP Black. They will remain undefeated in Korea.
Yeah, it was very tough. Actually, the reason why Crazy Moving tried to leap in and out from the beginning, tried to do maximum damage to actually take a target out, because Rich was doing 1v3, 1v4 by himself alone. And when they're nearby the kill, Genji will come in anytime, get those Dragon Blade out, slash the enemies, and get the resets and wipe them off the map. So Crazy Moving had to be feeling that pressure of, I have to do this, I have to get the kill. And every time he tried to do that, Black, knowing that, he was punished. So draft was overall solid, but in terms of sustain, I think Black had the advantage from the beginning.
Overall, this series of matches today really showcased how solid Rich is in team fights with that mouthfeel, something that should be overlooked. And overall, I still think this counts as a half win for Miracle in the sense that they were expected to lose 3-0 by most experts, but they managed to keep it competitive.
Well, with that, we're going into the interview. Let's see who we have on the desk from MVP Black this time. And it's Sake from MVP Black.
뭘 보고 있었던 거예요?
What are you looking at down there?
네.
자료를 잘 해놔가지고 이게
네.
뭔가 하고.
Look at all the datas. It seemed pretty cool.
알겠습니다. 자, 먼저 오늘 승리 축하드리고요. 오늘
And of course,
간단한 소감 먼저
congratulations,
들어보도록 하겠습니다.
Sake.
일단 오늘 이김으로써
How do you feel?
1등이 확정 났고.
With today's win, we have secured our first place for Korea. We are going to Eastern Clash.
변함없이 할 수 있도록 노력하겠습니다.
네.
And we'll do our best to actually compete against
the
Chinese teams in the Eastern Clash.
나오고 있어요. 본인들이 생각했을 때도 그런 느낌이 확실히 듭니까? 좀 승승장구거든요, 사실.
You feel that your roster change has worked out and overall stronger now?
지원이가 올라와가지고 근딜 쪽
With Rich coming into the team.
리치 선수요.
리치 선수 올라와가지고 근딜 쪽 비율이 올랐고 그 대신
Our Millie assassin, of course,
와가지고 지원가 쪽이 내려갔는데
using a lot, has risen up a little bit, but support Kyocha on the role has gone down a little.
그냥 부담 없이 그냥 잘 해주고 있어서.
But both, they're not really
지금 현재 MVP
giving us pressure or taking any pressures and doing well so far.
선치가 들어오기 바로 직전에 머리카락 끝에서 죽는다던가 말티엘이.
Sometimes when the ancestral came in, it was about to hit the hair or the hat, but Martial died sometimes.
리치 선수가요?
네, 리치 선수가 제가 일상생활을 많이 같이 하다 보니까
제가 계속 번역해드리고 있잖아요. 네.
리치 선수가 자신의 특성을 순간적으로 바꿈으로써 다음 판 하는 사원에서 이거
And in Sky Temple win,
찍으면은 이거 무조건 선치를 받을 수 있는 자기가 어그를 끌므로써
which actually changed his talent build a little bit in game number 4 to make sure that he can actually get ancestral compared to game number 3.
불만이 없어요.
들어가는 데 있어서는 뭐 믿고 있기 때문에.
He said that he can get more aggro and actually can survive a little bit longer, and he did get those ancestrals.
끝까지 라인을 챙기면서 운영을 하고 있는 찰나에 누군가가 끊기면서 말티엘이었죠? 네, 난리가 났거든요. 그러고 나서 바로 패배를 이어졌습니다.
When Sake, you were doing all the global work.
그 보고 있었어요. 딱 그냥 나 그냥 뭐 탑 바텀 라인을 쭉쭉 밀어 나가지고 1, 2단이랑
I was pushing top and bottom the entire time.
1대1 해도 괜찮을 것 같.
Even 1v1 against Dom Zillidan was, I thought it was somewhat possible and okay.
이거 2명 이상 오는가 보다 하고 그냥 뺐는데 1, 2단이 군광을 찍었더라고요. 이거 합류한다 해가지고 갔는데 갑자기 말티엘이 딱 죽더라고요.
And I was trying to help and when there was an upgrade onto the hunt, and I was trying to go in for the save, but Martial already died at that moment.
나 이거 말티엘 16레벨 17레벨 저지부가 찍으면 괜찮을 것 같은데 그냥 바로 피드백 나와가지고 다음 판에.
And we had some feedback right after game number 3, some with the talent from Rich, and after that feedback and the change, it was okay.
다음 세트를 준비하는
역시 최고의 선수가 괜히 나온 말이 아니죠.
확실히 마태형으로서.
Of course, he is the best player in the world, you know.
최고의 선수.
네. 근데 오늘 사실 치킨 그 자체였습니다. 오늘도.
You are literally chicken itself.
치킨 하면?
Do you like chicken?
세트 하면?
일단 유럽에서 푸나틱이 좀 쓰더라고요.
I saw Fnatic using ball set sometimes.
유럽을 봄으로써 걔네가 안옵 상대로 안옵이 고치를 해가지고 그 부분을 이제 노리는데 그거를
And against the Nubarak,
계속 세이브하거나
they used the Gust to actually save against the cocoons.
묶여 있는데 그 포스가 제트 타고 날아가가지고 강풍 할 수 있는 충분한 시간이 되거든요. 그래가지고
And whenever the cocoon is available, it is enough time for for Falstad to fly over and use the gust from the side. So
이제 궁금한 게 있는데
I think that was somewhat impressive, and
이스턴 클래시에는
Socket took
유럽
that.
팀이 없잖아요. 북미 팀도 없고.
And in Eastern Clash, there's no NA or EU there.
블랙 전력은 어떨 것 같아요?
But how do you think your team
이길 것
coming into
같습니까?
BlizzCon against all the Western teams too?
디그니가 우위잖아요.
네.
유럽이 되게 상향 평준화가 잘
Well,
되어
Dig is right now fifth.
무서운데 푸나틱 말고는
Other than
만나도
Fnatic,
다 이길 것 같아요. 근데
I think we can beat
푸나틱이
everyone else.
압도적인 또 한국에서 엠블랙이 있다면 유럽에는 푸나틱이 지금
If there is MVP Black in Korea, it's like there's Fnatic in EU.
더럽게 한다.
더럽게 한다는
네.
They play so
그렇죠.
dirty.
그 어제 디그니타스랑 하는 거 봤는데
And I saw the match against
아니,
Dignitas
그냥 가가지고
yesterday.
하면은 충분한 핵각이 나오는데 상대를 끝까지 말려 죽이더라고요.
They actually could have went for core, but they stalled more to actually get the maximum off of them, off of the opponent.
푸나틱도 모르겠어요. 저희가 미드 시즌에선 이겼는데 물론 중요한 경기 위에 상위 라운드에서는 저희가 못 가서 아쉬웠는데
네.
Well, we could have won for a little bit more. It was a big disappointment, but
선수가 있고.
with Rich coming in now,
6대4 정도로 저희가 이기지 않을까.
오, 좋은데요. 한번 보고 싶기도 하고요.
I think
네.
it's. I think we can about
약간만
win
요약을 하자면
with about like 2 to 4 score. He's talking about Fnatic.
이스턴 쪽에서는 우리가 압도적이고 이런 느낌 아니겠습니까?
그렇죠. 뭐 한 가지 더 궁금한 건
One more question to you.
L5. 네, 사실 라이벌이었었잖아요.
New L5, the rivalry between you guys with L5
2강 체제 느낌이 있긴 하지만
was basically
경기력에서는
top
확실히
2,
3대 0까지 만들어냈고
and you guys
어떤 거 같습니까?
won a series off of them 3-0. How do you think they are doing right now?
5개의 기둥이 있는데 노블레스가 그냥 가운데 면적 한 40%를 차지하고 있는 그
Well, the 5 pillars of L5 and Noblesse missing from,
무너지는 것
which was the biggest,
노블레스 선수가
the center pillar from the team. I think it's costing them really big right now.
네. 아바트로 인터뷰.
Here comes Avatar interview.
자, 아바트로 인터뷰. 오늘은 아바트로 인터뷰가
You
좀
want to try this head
짧습니다.
on? I don't think it fits my
아바트로
head.
인터뷰 간단하게 좀
That's
진행을
what Socket
해보도록
said.
하겠습니다. 오늘 조연출 웃지 말라고 내가 얘기했어요.
너무 잘 어울려요, 근데.
아, 그래요?
얼굴 세가고 네, 아바트로.
시커매가지고 제가 좀
네.
살짝. 자, 질문은 뭐였었냐면은 실세에 대한 이야기였었는데요. 잠깐만요.
Casero actually lost the question, so he's finding it right now.
HGC 코리아의 실세라고 볼 수 있는 MVP 블랙.
The secret
그렇다면
weapon
MVP 블랙 안에서의
of HGC.
선수들 중에 실세는 과연 누구인가?
Who's the actual, the dark weapon in the dark power in MVP Black?
저희 실세는 게임할 리쌍.
리쌍.
The lead duos, the Rich and Reset,
리쌍 듀오가 실세죠.
are the power pillars of the team.
누구를 예상했습니까 실세?
저는 뭐 게임 내에서는 뭐 그 두 친구가 뭐 그 두 선수가 굉장히 패기 있게 할 거라고 생각을 했고.
We knew that those two were be. But in terms of atmosphere and in the team house though,
저희가 궁금한 건 사실 세갈적인 부분이거든요.
세갈적인 부분은 완전 노터치인데 애들이
Let's get personal.
스크림할 때 저도 많이 혼나고
교차도
많이 혼나고.
진짜 슬퍼요.
but even in scrims, even I get bashed on. Even Gyocha,
리셋이 혼내요 막 사실.
Reset actually
대놓고 말해요. 근데 제 입장으로서는
points out a lot of our mistakes,
형이라고, 그러니까 나이 많다고 형이라고 말 안 하는 것보다 그렇게 그냥 대놓고 말해.
which is actually better, I think. Even though I'm older, the age is really respectable thing if you're older in Asian culture. So, but he actually points out all my mistakes and says it to me and also Gyocha at the same time, which I like about Reset.
네, 아무튼 저는 궁금했던 게
정민이 형한테도 똑같이 한번
그러네요. 네.
어쨌든 그러면은 실세는
of course,
게임 안에서건 혹은 뭐 숙소 생활에서건 역시나 리쌍이 좀 실세 같은 느낌이다.
In game and out of game,
감독님이죠.
and Reset and Rich, of course,
더 위로 올라가야
have
되네요.
the power. If you're better at games, you are the older brother, you know.
거부할 수 없는.
알겠습니다. 사회생활
That's
열심히
fact.
하고 있는 사켓 선수. 뭐 질문 하나 더 있습니까?
아니요, 없어요. 저는
없습니까?
이제 하도 인터뷰를 많이 해가지고 네 항상 오니까
네.
MVP 블랙 선수들이
그렇긴 하네요.
네.
MVP 블랙은 항상 게임할 때마다 오니까요.
네.
자 이제 블랙이
네,
남은
MVP 블랙.
경기가 레이븐과의
Only
경기가
has a
남아
match
있습니다.
against Raven,
네, 왜
the
벌써
last
미리
place
지고 있는 거죠?
team right now.
경기하는 거 보니까
네.
그냥 게임하기 싫어하는 것 같더라고요.
약간 그런 느낌인가요?
We saw maybe
네.
얘네들 도대체 뭐 하는 건가?
What are they doing in the game? We saw their games yesterday.
전승으로 이스턴 가는 그런 느낌일까요?
And will it be all wins, all winning streak until you go to Eastern Clash? And Saka says
말씀해주신
yes.
대로라고 한다면은 뭐 레이븐과의 경기에서 당연히 한 분이 또 올라와서 이스턴에 대한 어떤 각오를 다지겠지만 혹시라도 그때 또 레이븐과의 경기 질 수도 있으니까 이스턴에 임하는 각오 한 말씀.
And of course, let's hear your shoutouts going into Eastern Clash.
정말 아쉬운데.
네.
그래도 그냥 한국인의 장치가 될 것 같아요.
네.
I think it will be the celebration of Koreans there. I think it's already set.
알겠습니다. 거기서 또 멋진 경기로 저희에게 기쁨을 주시기를 바라도록 하겠습니다. 자, 오늘 있었던 경기 결과 한번 살펴보도록
And that's Sake
하겠습니다.
from MVP Black. Rather a very long interview. I think one of the longest interviews.